You're listening to the Wrestlebread podcast.
Cut the shit.
How many red carpets you guys want to walk in your $4,000 ridiculous heels? You will never be able to lace up my Chuck Taylors.
This is your fault. This is your fault.
I didn't get mad when you stole all my moves.
Your daddy's not here anymore.
How was your movie, by the way? I missed it.
Mine went straight to DVD, just like yours.
Careful you don't hurt your neck again going through those ropes.
What's up, guys? This is episode 182 of the Wrestlebread podcast, and we are here live once again on the Bloodline Entertainment Network on the YouTube. Be sure to put your ones in the chat and acknowledge us. I am Jaydee, the first effing lady, and we had a little bit going on this past week. I just came back from a vacation from work, and if you know how it is when you come back from vacation, first day from vacation, you know that it is a hell of a lot that you got to catch up on. So that's what my day was. Yes, shout out to the Universal Podcast. What's up, Jaydee? Have an awesome show. Thank you so much. But yeah, so I had I would like to thank everyone for tuning in with the last episode to celebrate my 4-year anniversary and my birthday. I had a good birthday. I had saw the Super Mario Brothers movie. Chef's kiss. All the OGs. There's so much stuff in there for us, especially those of us who survived watching the original, the live action Super Mario Brothers back in the 90s. If you know, you know. But this movie was really good. I went and saw that. I also went bowling, and I went to the Cheesecake Factory. That was, of course, Cheesecake Factory is always good. I didn't go to the Phillies game. I had thoughts of going to the Phillies game. Luckily, I didn't, because apparently they got blown out that game. So I would have been pissed off. It would have been a waste of money. You know how it is. So maybe next time. I do have tickets for another game. I'm hoping they win that game some way, somehow. But, you know how it is, baseball. It's the first game of like 1,000 games that's happening this season. So, yes, peaches. Oh, I couldn't believe how much I really love that movie. Like, I really didn't expect that song, first of all. Like, I love Jack Black. Oh my goodness. Like, apparently, from what I saw on YouTube, that they all played like Mario Kart, and apparently he's really good at Mario Kart. So, you could tell he was an OG. He put his all into playing Bowser. But yeah, I was even okay with Chris Pratt being Mario. At first, I was like really against it because, I'm like, no, I can't hear any other voice, but it grew on me. So I really didn't have any complaints about this movie. This movie was like, oh, I get that. Like, I was Chris Evans, Captain America the whole time. Oh, I get that reference. Oh, I know that. Oh, I heard that and everything like that. I was driving my son crazy because I was like, if this person's in this, if they play this song, if they do this, if they do that. So yeah. But now my son, he played Mario and everything like that. He had a Nintendo DS and everything. But after we saw that movie, he just needed something Mario-wise. He wanted to get the Mario hat, but we couldn't find it. So he wants me to get it off of Amazon. Maybe I'll get it for him, but he doesn't know that. So, but yeah, he wanted something Mario-wise. So, there's that. But the birthday was good. I do my annual tradition of eating at Chicky and Pete's. If you don't know about Chicky and Pete's, you'll find out, especially if you come to Philly for Mania. It's pretty much the place to go for the crab fries, the crab cakes and stuff like that. It's a seafood place, bar and everything. So I ate the crab cakes. I had the crab fries, and I had a lobster cheesesteak, which I knew it was a thing, but I never tried one. It was very interesting. And so it's the cheesesteak and the lobster. But the thing is, they like slathered a bunch of cheese on it. And I like my cheese, but that was a lot of cheese. And it was just a very interesting taste to it. So yeah, pigged out with that and everything like that. But yeah, I had a good birthday. And now we come back to wrestling. So first off, let's get into Mr. Vince McMahon. I mean, that's the thing that everybody loves to talk about. I mean, look at that mustache. Look at that lovely mustache as I try to point at him. Look at that lovely mustache right there. The John Clark 2008s that he got going on there. First of all, I couldn't believe that he decided to grow that out. You would think the massive cojones that Vince McMahon always talks about, that he would grow like a full like mountain beard or mountain mustache or something like that. But he comes in with the Just for Men Club thing. You know, he got his hair dyed and everything, just truly looking like he's going through a midlife crisis. Because I watched the interview that he did. I forgot where it was, but it's the interview that that picture clearly comes from. And I was looking like he looks so weird. You could tell he got work done, but I was looking at his ears. I don't know why, but I was like, his ears look really big for his head, like massive ears. So I don't know. That's how I was looking at him. But everybody keeps talking about Vince McMahon, and you know, especially last week, they wanted to have the crowd who went to SmackDown to chant "Fire Vince." Fire Vince was trying to trend on Twitter and everything like that, and I get it. Now we finally have someone who's technically over Vince McMahon, even though we did have the shareholders that was over Vince McMahon. I mean, they're the ones who really got the train rolling as far as getting his retirement last year. But my thing is, I highly doubt they're going to let him go. But it feels like people were trying to get the fire of Vince McMahon going more because of booking decisions versus what the fuck this man actually did, as far as the allegations and everything like that. I'm sure if Cody had won the title and Bobby Lashley had a great match at WrestleMania and everything was good booking wise, that, you know, it wouldn't be such a, it'll be an issue, but I don't think it'll be blown up as much as it is, because a lot of people contribute the loss of Cody Rhodes to Vince McMahon. That a lot of the changes that we see with Bray Wyatt disappearing and everything like that. And I spoke about it on the previous episode, that I feel as though this could possibly be Triple H. And it actually was proven, according to Fightful, the feud between Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes was actually planned about a month before. And this is before Vince came back and everything like that. Which means, yeah, Mr. Petty Triple H was like, yeah, I'll book you and everything like that. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm gonna have you lose not only at WrestleMania, but I'm going to pull a John Cena 2012 on you and have Brock Lesnar show up and pretty much play you as well. I thought it was very weird that, like I had said previously, that Brock Lesnar was going to team up with Cody, because I was like, I don't recall Brock Lesnar being very nice or anything like that. And then we see, before the match even started, you know, Brock Lesnar, I mean, he went back to like OG Brock Lesnar on that one. I mean, we had the streak ending Brock Lesnar, we had the ruthless aggression Brock Lesnar, the here comes the pain Brock Lesnar, cowboy Brock Lesnar, and everything like that, dancing Brock Lesnar. We pretty much had it all. And now we're back to here comes the pain Brock Lesnar once again, with, you know, completely destroying Cody Rhodes, putting up the middle fingers at the end, to where as though they had to like quickly zoom in on him to kind of blur out the middle fingers. And yeah, we had Cody come out to cut a promo about how, yeah, of course, I was embarrassed and everything. He challenged Brock Lesnar to WrestleMania Backlash. So that was like another thing that people thought, oh, Vince McMahon's coming back, and everything like that. And like I had said, if he comes back, he comes back. There's not really much that we can do as fans. We can cry and everything all like that. All they're going to do is mute the fans, or they'll, you know, put something out there to kind of like take away our they'll do something to take away our attention to what's going on. And it's happened plenty of times. I mean, we're pretty much like the dog from the movie Up, where, you know, something happens, we go squirrel, and we look over, and then we kind of like forget what's going on. I mean, they gave us this bloodline, this great, you know, bloodline storyline with Sami Zayn. We all wanted Sami Zayn to go against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. We didn't get it. He lost. And they perfectly pivoted to where we want Cody Rhodes, and I mean, not Cody Rhodes, where we want Cody Rhodes actually to go against Roman Reigns. And we want Sami Zayn, instead of main eventing, well, technically he did main event of WrestleMania, that we were okay with him winning the tag team titles. And so I just want to be presented with a good product and everything like that. Despite what the hell this guy had done for decades, the craziest shit that he has done, especially things that we don't even know about. There's things, as we have saw, that wasn't even in the dirt sheets that this guy has done. Despite all that, he has put out a lot of matches and storylines and things like that that we all cherish. I mean, despite where the fuck Vince McMahon took the idea of, he is the one who did the Attitude Era. Everybody talks more about the Attitude Era versus ECW and even WCW. I mean, we talk about NWO and everything like that, but NWO ended up in WWE anyway. There wouldn't, like, Stone Cold wouldn't be Stone Cold if he didn't have the feud with Vince McMahon. The Rock was a creation under Vince McMahon. The boyhood dream came true was under Vince McMahon. Bret Hart, as much as he hates wrestling today, from what I read, that came under Vince McMahon too. So, you know, he's an asshole. He'll get what's coming to him, in my opinion, but we can't deny what the hell he has done for wrestling as a whole. If it wasn't for him, truthfully, we probably wouldn't have gotten AEW. There probably wouldn't have been like such a demand for there to be something else. And we get AEW, and of course all the wonderful things that's happened over there as well. So with people wanting to have Vince McMahon fired and all this other stuff, we had Triple H, who was announced to appear on SmackDown, and he appeared a little bit later in the show, and he came out and made the announcement that the WWE draft is coming back. And as we now see, that's the reason why we didn't have call-ups or anything like that at Raw after Mania, because it seems like we're in a few weeks. I don't recall him saying exactly when we're going to have the WWE draft. And it seems like he mentioned that it's going to be, bigger than anything we have had. It's going to be bigger and better. So we're assuming that we're going to have, NXT put into here. But an interesting thing that I think may happen, we could probably get not only Raw and SmackDown drafting, but possibly even NXT drafting as well. That we could see people, get drafted, go from the main roster to NXT. Be very interesting if they try to present NXT as more of not really a third brand, but as kind of like a separate division. Because I know that they like kind of restored it to what it was, to where it is a developmental, that what we have there is a lot of people who are working on characters and promos and stuff like that, like we had many years ago. But I feel as though it could be very possible that we could be drafting veterans down to NXT to kind of give a bit more flavor to NXT, especially once we bring up, the first group of people graduating from the non-colorful NXT, or NXT 2.0 technically, that NXT would definitely need a lot of help. So as we saw with the success with Johnny Gargano coming down there, we have Jinder Mahal going down there. Who else we had? We had a couple of other people go down to the NXT as well to do feuds. We had AJ Styles at one point go to NXT. That it could be that there would be some wrestlers who would get drafted to, as of right now, permanently stay in NXT. It is very interesting, though, with them doing this WWE draft. The fact that we have the titles unified with the tag team titles and with the Universal and WWE title. Why are we doing a draft? Why is there seemingly a brand split if we're not separating the titles? So I'm very interested to see how that plays out. If they do keep the titles unified, you know, will then the champion bounce from Raw to SmackDown? I like the way that they had Roman Reigns kind of booked. Even though like once the Bloodline storyline got really more and more popular, that we saw him a little bit more each week. But I don't mind the champion not showing up for every single pay-per-view. The I forgot what pay-per-view it was. The one pay-per-view where Roman Reigns wasn't booked, they made the US title and the IC title like the highlight of it all. And it kind of gave more attention to more people as well. Um I was a proponent for splitting the title, not necessarily um as a brand split, but the fact that like we had Roman Reigns hold the title for 2 years. And in that amount of time, we could have had other champions as well. I mean, he didn't hold both titles for the whole 2 years. But when he defeated Brock Lesnar, that's when he got both titles. But during that time, when he had the title, we saw a lot of other people kind of get opportunities. Big E, Bobby Lashley as well, to get opportunity to be champion that we don't normally see. So I'm very interested to see what this WWE draft is going to look like, especially under Triple H. I guess we can kind of put quotes under that. If we're going to do a true brand split, or if this is going to be sort of like this is your home base, but we could see someone who is home base from SmackDown challenge Bianca Belair for Raw, or vice versa. I I didn't like the brand split as far as like, okay, you have to stay here and you have to stay here. Because it kind of limits to the booking for WWE. As we saw as we see with SmackDown, because a lot of the more popular women on Raw. I mean, we have Rhea Ripley and Judgment Day, Bianca Belair. We had Asuka, Becky's over there. Now with SmackDown, I mean, they're doing nothing but playing, spin the wheel as far as the tag team division as well. We had Madison say, I thought they were going to split it at WrestleMania because WWE draft was coming up and then Raw is getting boring. But also I want Roman to make 1,000 days as champ. Yes, we all want Roman Reigns to be 1,000 days as champ. But yeah, I do like the fact that when they do the draft, that it kind of like it kind of like spice things up, especially, I forgot what year it was, but it was when we had the 4 horsewomen and they kind of did it. They did the draft and we saw, I believe it was, I think it was Becky and Sasha ended up on the same brand or something like that. It was something along those lines that someone ended up on the same brand together, and we like couldn't wait for that feud to happen. I thought they would probably split it. I didn't think they would split the belts after WrestleMania. Of course, everyone figured that if Cody was to win the title, that he would be the one to split it, because it was always the rumor of the Winged Eagle Championship coming back and everything like that. Yes, Team 1K in the building. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. What's up, Streets? Shout out to Streets Athon and everything. But yeah, with the draft, I'm very interested to see how this plays out this year. I mean, the last time we haven't had the draft for a little bit, What's your favorite women's wrestler? First of all, I like Bianca Belair. If we're talking like overall right now, my favorite is Bianca Belair. Nothing compares to what she has done, especially the fact that she didn't come from the indies, that she was like homegrown from WWE, and that she's able to do such amazing stuff. She's really the face of what WWE can do for people, for the next in line, or people who never like grew up watching WWE or wrestling, or didn't have a desire to be a WWE wrestler, that you can do amazing things and everything like that. But overall, I love Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, Asuka. I like Sasha Banks as well. Um, I'm just overall, I appreciate women's wrestling as between WWE and AEW overall. I like Willow Nightingale as well too. What's up, Circle of Debate? What's going on? One's in the chat for the Bloodline Entertainment Network as well. Shout out to Faction Cast. What's going on as well? Yeah. I like women's wrestling. I had liked women's wrestling for even before the Attitude Era when it was Alundra Blaze there. They really didn't have a lot of women's wrestlers back there, but it was her going against Boom Nakado. I love Boom Nakado, and I loved Luna Vachon as well. Um I liked Sensational Sherry as well, but I love Luna Vachon back then too. WWE was supposed to give King and Queen of the Ring, but it was recently changed to Night of Champions. Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. That's interesting. I mean, I guess it kind of like I loved the King of the Ring back in the day. And I guess it makes sense for them to change it because they really didn't do anything with it. The only person that really meant something to was Xavier Woods, and the only person that they really did something about it was Baron Corbin. The way that they booked Baron Corbin after he became King of the Ring, it just was like, they really used it and everything like that. They did it with Shinsuke Nakamura, but it was very weird the way that they booked Shinsuke Nakamura as well. But yeah, with the draft and everything, I'm very interested to see how they're going to handle it this year. If they're just doing a home base or if they actually going to do a brand split. And if so, like what are we doing with the titles? Is the Universal title, is the United States title, strictly staying on Raw? Is the IC title staying strictly on SmackDown? I wouldn't mind if they have it like an actual split, but I wouldn't mind if the champions can bounce between shows as well. Like we could see the IC title on Raw, and we could see the US title on Raw. I guess the women's title had to be separate since it's SmackDown Raw. But as we saw with the tag team champions, the Usos were bouncing on Raw and SmackDown at certain points. And we kind of saw it a little bit too with Roman Reigns, that he would appear on SmackDown Raw. So I wouldn't mind that. Kind of keeps things fresh as well. But yeah, that I can't wait to see. They really didn't, like I said, they really didn't announce a date of when they're going to do the draft. But it'll be very interesting. Like I said, if they make NXT draft as well, Shawn Michaels drafting wrestlers to go down to not go down, but to be on NXT as well. Yo, what's up, Tim? Shout out to you. Yo, Jaydee, what's good? What is going on? A lot of the Bloodline people up in this chat tonight. What is going on? Yeah. It's pretty much all I had to say about the draft. I'm just very interested to see how it's going to get handled. And then especially how it's going to affect some of the storylines, especially that we have Backlash or WrestleMania Backlash, if that's the name, coming up. We have Trish Stratus turning on Becky Lynch. We got that going on. Eventually, we have, as of right now, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan teaming up for right now. Of course, we know those titles are going to go to Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler eventually soon. What is going to happen with Rey Mysterio and Dominic, because we got that feud going on as well too. But yeah, I can't wait to see. There's been some rumors Randy Orton was to return and face Roman at Backlash. That would have been interesting. I would like to see that type of build up, but I feel as though they still have to address the situation, not only with Sami Zayn, but with Cody Rhodes too, because Cody Rhodes is trying to get that rematch eventually, but he's getting sidelined with Brock Lesnar. Now, what happens with between Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes will really tell us what the booking is going to be with Cody Rhodes. If Cody Rhodes loses to Brock Lesnar, especially if Brock Lesnar wrestles Cody Rhodes like he wrestled John Cena with the constant nothing but suplexes and things like that, I don't know. Thoughts on a lot of wrestling pay-per-views happening outside of the States. I love it. Listen, the let's see, Puerto Rico, and yeah, technically US, but Puerto Rico, 2 in London, and the Saudi pay-per-views. I love the pay-per-views going on outside of the US. I feel as though it's deserved for all the international fans because the international fans all come over here for WrestleMania and the Raw after Mania as well. They're the reasons why Raw after Mania became so chaotic because they'll come over, they'll have their chants and everything like that. I think the international fans, they're amazing. I mean, I don't know how the hell like does the international fans like come together and figure out what chants to do because they had the song for Bailey, they had the chant for American Alpha. Like a lot of the chants that we have today was started by the international fans. And every time they went to London or things like that, they would WE like would put extra work into making sure that that pay-per-view was booked nicely. I mean, look at Clash at the Castle. I mean, every up, from top to bottom, that was like one of the um best pay-per-views that they have going on, as one of the best top from bottom pay-per-views that WWE had put on, that didn't feature. I think that was the one that didn't feature um Roman Reigns. Money in the Bank in London, very confusing choice fitting the pay-per-views. We'll see how it works. We'll see how everything works out as far as with Money in the Bank going on. Um, we'll see how everything goes as far as Money in the Bank in London. It could work out. I mean, we saw it happen during the pandemic with Money in the Bank, and they did it at Titan Towers, I think it was. I didn't think that was going to work, and apparently it was. I mean, we got Oscar to win and Otis to win at that point, which was a bit shocking. But the way it was booked, it was actually kind of entertaining as well. Um, but yeah, I'm very excited to see how the pay-per-views are going to be for the ones that's happening outside of the US. Um, we also have AEW going to London as well, which I think is very ballsy. I mean, normally AEW does like what 14, 15,000. I think the most they ever did was 16,000 in Chicago. And now they're going from that to pretty much that's the Wembley Stadium, that's pretty much like WrestleMania type of numbers that I believe they seat 90,000. So we'll say, with the setup and everything like that, we'll say like maybe 70,000, 80,000 people in there. That's WrestleMania numbers. And if they're able to pull that off, props to AEW. I mean, I feel like the only way that they'll be able to sell that out, or even if they do like 60% of it, I think that'll be very good for them. Um, but in order for them to like really sell it, they're gonna have to do like a dream card on there. Like CM Punk will have to be back. It would have to be Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega, Jay White versus Adam Cole. What else? Like they would really have to FTR. Well, maybe FTR and CM Punk versus the Elite or something crazy like that. I should add. Wake him up. Mom stuff. Okay. Um, I believe they did 20K in Arthur Ashe. Yeah, I figured that they did a lot. They did a lot for one of the shows. So it's possible if they have like I feel as though that they'll be able to do it as well. I mean, who knows if Jamie Hayter is still champion at that point? And then it's their first show overseas, so they could bring in a lot of people come in from London. It'll probably be people that'll travel over to London as well. So it's very possible that they can do it. Gotta have a lot of hometown people there, like Will Ospreay, Pac, Saraya, Jamie. Yeah, I mean, AEW can book like, they have done pay-per-views where it's like 10 matches and stuff like that. And so yeah, it can definitely be done as well. Yes, WrestleMania is coming to Philly. Can't wait for that to happen. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be like 2 days before my 40th birthday, so it's going to be a whole celebration as well too. They're bringing a bell gimmick. Yeah, I can't wait. The statue gimmick. I can't wait to see what the stage is going to look like for WrestleMania and who they're going to have host that WrestleMania too. Because they showed Kevin Hart for this WrestleMania, because I was like, y'all could have saved him for Philly Mania as well. Then they're doing back-to-back pay-per-views and overseas. Oh yeah, that's right. Because I don't know if they're doing All Out that next week, because they're supposed to be doing All Out allegedly the next week in Chicago, which I think is going to be very weird to do, because you're overseas in London and then you have to turn around, do Dynamite either there or in the States, and then have All Out as well. I don't know what they're going to do as far as with that week. I'm hoping that they'll give us more details. If All In will then replace All Out, which I doubt they would do. But yeah, I'm very excited. So speaking of AEW, let's get into the recap of AEW as well. First of all, that I appreciate the fact that AEW is kind of concentrating more on their originals. We have many complaints of how, they concentrate on the WWE guys and stuff like that. And at one point, all their titles was on, AEW originals. Now, granted, FTR does have the tag team titles, but the Gun Club had it. I still love the fact their entrance from last week. But we started off with Darby Allin going against Swerve Strickland. And we haven't seen Swerve Strickland on Dynamite in a little bit as well. That brought out MJF, who cut a promo against Darby Allin. I wonder how people overall feel about that we're now focusing on the 4 pillars, which I think we should have done. I think we should have been focused on the 4 pillars. I guess now we're doing it since MJF is the champion, and now we are no longer kind of like, well, that not only that he's the champion, but that we don't have a lot of concentration, or like we didn't have with CM Punk gone. The Elite was gone for a little bit, but they're involved with the trios titles. We had Adam Cole out, so now it was kind of like pretty much back to when we had Forbidden Door as well, when a lot of people was injured or sick or something like that. And there was a lot more concentration on people who didn't really get a chance. But now we have the 4 pillars facing each other, which I'm very intrigued about. What I really like is the fact that all 4 men, well, mainly the 3 challengers, are all coming into this title shot differently. Sammy Guevara saying that I worked my ass off in the indies. They never said I was going to make it anywhere. And I'm here to, show people what I can do. We have Jungle Boy, who pretty much said, like, I had your number. I can beat you. And we have Darby Allin that's like, look, I love wrestling, and I wanted to be a wrestler, things like that. And, of course, he does all the crazy shit and stuff like that. So I like the fact that we have 3 different competitors, but it's all like 3 different reasons as to why they want to be champion and their path towards being champion as well. This, of course, MJF started talking about daddy daycare, which brings out Sting. Sting getting right up on MJF's face. I mean, all up in the personal space. It was like, listen, I don't do daddy daycare. That's Cody daycare. And then he goes, oh, did I have a slip of the tongue? Did I mention Cody Rhodes on TV? And then he started talking about how, he's nothing. He's pretty much a cheerleader. He is a mentor to Darby Allin, just like how, Ric Flair was a mentor towards him, which I thought was pretty cool to kind of give people a bit of a history lesson, because everyone all knows nothing but Sting. But to kind of give a background, like, hey, he gave major props to Ric Flair, which, shout out to that. But he said that he's nothing but a cheerleader, and he pulled out a pom pom, which was like so weird. And then he was flicking it in MJF's face. He threw it at him, and then he pulled out like 3 other pom poms. And I'm like, okay, I didn't have Sting putting over pom poms on the 2023 bingo card. I don't know if this is a start of craziness for wrestling this year. I mean, we had a craziest year of wrestling last year, but now we have Sting putting over pom poms. Tony Khan wants to sell out the Wembley Stadium. We have Vince McMahon with the thinnest mustache we ever seen. And we also had John Mox, who didn't bleed this week, which is like, didn't think that was possible. He didn't bleed last week either. So it looks like, things are getting pretty weird as well, which means eventually he's going to wrestle a match. He's going to like trip over something during the entrance and start bleeding at that point as well. I am interested to see how they're going to do this. I don't know if are setting up for Double or Nothing in May, or if this is going to, I doubt this is going to go on to All In. I feel like, I don't know if this is going to be a fatal 4-way, or if this is going to be a triple threat to figure out which one of them will go on to face MJF, but I hope it's a fatal 4-way, really. I doubt they're going to have MJF lose the title. I think if they kind of like want to protect him from losing the title, you could easily do a fatal 4-way. He can, sneak off or do whatever, and then end up winning on his own accord. Kind of like something that we normally see happen in like ladder matches and stuff like that. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out. But I feel like MJF is going to retain. I will be surprised if they switch the title. I don't know who they would switch the title to. I'm going to guess it would be between Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin. But then it'll be, what they're going to do come All In, because they truly have to go all in for that pay-per-view. They really have to like book. That has to be like booking perfection to bring in 90,000 people. We also had Powerhouse Hobbs. I'm very happy that Powerhouse Hobbs has the title. It's just the whole QT TV thing that I'm not 100% sure of. I had loved the TMZ parodies that made me laugh. But I wish that we had I wish Powerhouse Hobbs was booked similar to Samoa Joe, especially when Samoa Joe was Ring of Honor champion, when he was champ. I love the way he was booked. And I wish we had that too with Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't know if there's not enough trust with Powerhouse Hobbs to, handle his own. That's why we have him with QT Marshall. I understood that that QT Marshall kind of helped out Powerhouse Hobbs because of something that happened in a previous feud, that Powerhouse Hobbs, I believe, helped QT Marshall with Warlow or something like that. And QT Marshall said, I'll pay you back. And that's what we had here. But I wish that we had, Powerhouse Hobbs was booked more powerful. So, but he came in a nice car, and then we had Warlow who appeared, and he pretty much stone cold the car. He started, taking a bat to it, and then he got into a forklift and took out the windows, very similar to Drew McIntyre, I think it was, with when Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. But then he took the forklift and flipped the car over as well. We also had a little backstage promo as well with Jay White and Juice Robinson. And now they are called the Bullet Club. They're called Bullet Club Gold. So I'm like, okay. I don't know if we're doing this feels like a bit more casino stuff, and we're going to get platinum, Bullet Club Platinum or something like that afterwards. But I'm interested to see where this goes. Because we have a slight Bullet Club in Impact. We have somewhat of a Bullet Club in WWE with, I guess once AJ Styles comes back, they'll start that up again. And then of course the one that's in New Japan. So very interested to see how this plays out. And it looks like they're starting Jay White to go against Ricky Starks, which I'm not mad about at all. I can't wait to see how that feud plays out. I'm not expecting for Jay White to immediately go after the title. Let the pillars, work that out and get their time to shine as well. And, put Jay White with people who, can really hang with him. So I can't wait to see him versus Ricky Starks. We have Adam Cole, seemingly feuding with Chris Jericho as well. Who I guess it was Tony Khan who decided to put Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa against the Blackpool Combat Club, who of course they got their asses whooped because why not? But then we had a bit of a vignette too of Kenny Omega, who mentioned they weren't there. But after this match, we had the Blackpool Combat Club who were beating up Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa, and then they showed up. So I'm like, why didn't y'all guys help them out, from the get-go? Why y'all threw them out there as bait? Like, geez. Brandon Cutler's trying to do is, play his games and film, being the elite episodes. What's up to the broadcast podcast as well? Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, the elite was back. Jon Moxley was not bleeding at all, which is very surprising. But we had Michael and Brandon who were bleeding from this. But I was like, why didn't y'all help out y'all guys? Y'all really just like stood there until they started getting beat up after the match. And it's like, okay, we'll go and help them out at this point. Shout out to Juggernaut. What's up? What's going on? Thank you for tuning in as well. Then we come to the main event, which was Chris Jericho versus Keith Lee. I don't know if we should be, happy that Keith Lee did main event a Dynamite. He is involved in something, but we all know that this was pretty much a match to continue the setup for Chris Jericho versus Adam Cole. We kind of figured that Chris Jericho was going to win here. But I don't know. Should we be happy that we had Keith Lee main eventing technically a Dynamite, even though he was like put on the back burner of booking for a while? It seems like we're continuing this feud between him and Swerve Strickland. Swerve as well. Because he came in and interfered in the match. I don't know, like, it's the booking with them is very similar to some of the women in WWE's women's tag team division, where it's like, because we had the match, first of all, we had the match between Io Sky, Piper Niven, and Mia Yim, which on paper we should be hype about, but because they haven't been booked that strongly, I mean, Io has been losing like hell. Mia Yim has kind of like been there, and Piper has kind of like been there as well, that they're not even booked that strong for us to really like care about it that much. And I feel like the same way with Keith Lee and with Swerve. I mean, when they were a tag team, they were on fire. And then even with them kind of like turning on each other, that was cool as well. But once we stepped away from that, especially Swerve got this like mogul team or whatever, I was like, it like lost me. Wait, Swerve Keith Lee still beefing? Yeah. I mean, Keith Lee was gone for a while, and then he came back, and Swerve interfered in the match last night. So yeah, they're still beefing for whatever reason. I don't know. It just feels like Tony Khan was like, Keith Lee's back. I don't know what to do. Just have him and Swerve still beefing. Someone please tell Keith Lee to get rid of the robe, looking like a wizard, or not Keith Wizard Lee, just be Bearcat Lee. Oh my gosh. I didn't even see the match where he wore the robe with Dustin Rhodes. I saw a photo of it and I was like, oh my gosh. Like that tweet that he sent out about Gunther did not age well. I mean, a lot of people referenced it when they saw him with the robe. He was pretty much wearing the robe that Pac was wearing when he was Neville, when he was Mighty Mouse. I forgot his full name because they took away the last name. When he was Neville in WWE and he wore the fucking cape, same thing. Like it just felt like I don't know. I don't know whose idea that was for him to wear the cape with the wizard cape. It's like is it your dream in life to be a real life black mage or something like that? Like I don't know what's going on there. It just really feels like they don't know what to do with him. And that's kind of the issue with not only AEW but with WWE as well, where we have that issue of you have too many people and you need to figure out what you got to do with the booking the wizard cape. Yeah, it was straight up like Final Fantasy 12 type of cape. Final Fantasy 11. No, yeah, Final Fantasy 11. That's the that's the mobile one. Yeah, it looked like a Final Fantasy 11 Black Mage type of cape, like level 13 type of situation. Like it wasn't a good look on him. And yeah, it really confused me. Then he had his hair white, so I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to do, sir. Like, I don't know. I really love to hear the explanation behind it. Because I don't know. I can't think of an explanation as to why we put this man in a cape as a wizard. And then he's feuding with Swerve again. So it's like, are you going to like, do some spells or something like that against him at this point? Like, are you like, I would love to hear the promo that he would cut, especially if he cuts the promo in the wizard cape. Like, you're going to do abracadabra. You know how Keith Lee talks, and he's going to like pull something off like that. Like, I don't know. It's just very weird. Like, it's just that the way that they're booking right now, I don't have faith that they can do 90,000. But if they decide to, if Tony Khan decides to just say fuck it and do like dream match booking, they're fine. But it's the whole, like, they could do storylines. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like it has to make sense every single week. Like I have said plenty of times, the one thing I love about AEW is the dream booking, is the dream matches. Like sometimes I would just love to see two people face each other. Like with Sheamus and Gunther. I don't need a storyline for that. Just put those two in a match and just say we're gonna fight each other again. I'm completely cool with that. I mean, the storyline between those two is pretty much like I just wanna beat you the fuck up. Like I just want to chop the shit out of you. And I mean, with the triple threat, I mean, we had it between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, but I don't need a storyline for that. Just put them two in a match and do that whole stare down stuff like that. That I just want to fuck you up. Like I don't need a reason. I don't need a storyline. I don't need to cut a promo about you. I just want to fuck you up real quick. I'm fine with that. I love the dream booking and everything like that. I like storylines sometimes too. I don't know. I have slight patience still with AEW because they're still a bit new. They're still figuring out like booking week to week, as we saw too with Triple H. Booking a week to week show is a little bit hard. Okay, Chris Jericho and Keith Lee give me a wizard story. Book it, Tony. Mage staff on a pole match. The Wizardly book of magic spells in a briefcase, okay? Spells in the briefcase match, okay? Don't give him ideas, okay? Because if Tony Khan's watching, you're the best promoter of all. Can you give me tickets to something? Well, no, not everything. If you're gonna give me tickets to something far away, I want all expenses paid, okay? If you tweet at him, he'll respond. Tony Khan will listen to fans. So if enough people say, I want a Wizard versus Wizard match with Chris Jericho and Keith Lee. He'll probably book it. Like, we'll probably see it at Double or Nothing, like Wizard Casino Battle Royal or something, you know. He'll book something. But yeah, I like my dream broking. I love, you know, spots and stuff like that. Like, you know, I like both companies, but I'm a little bit more patient with Tony Khan and AEW because they're still fairly new. Like, you just lost your EVP and you're like your babyface, even though he was booed a lot before he left. But you're still figuring out. Um, you're still starting. You have to figure out like what your identity is. Are you going to be, you know, dream booking matches? Are you going to do storylines? Are you going to do a little bit of both? I'm hoping they do a little bit of both, like, because they deal with a lot of different companies. They can, you know, request somebody from New Japan. They got somebody from Impact come over. They can have people from all over to pretty much come over and like just do a quick match with them or something like that. So you can do the dream booking match. Like, they don't have it like WWE where everything's in a bubble. Like, no, we only work with our own people. Tony Khan, he'll have people come over. Hey, you know, you come on AEW Dark Elevation or something like that, or you can just come and do a Dynamite or even a Rampage. What we saw with Commander and Vikingo as well too. Especially now they got Ring of Honor going as well. They can do like dream book matches and stuff. It's just the storyline. They could do storylines, but they just really need to they have to be consistent with, you know, having more than one storyline and weave it through. It's very easy to book the elite in the storyline or whatever. It's very easy. I mean, because of course the more successful storylines was with Hangman Page. But yeah, I'm fine with that. First of all, the one thing I truly love right now in AEW is heel Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan, he's so good. He is so good. He was so good as a babyface, but he is so wonderful as a heel. And I said this last week, he made us boo him for trying to save the planet. Do you know how good you have to be as a heel to have people boo you because you want to save the planet? The man is trying to expand the lives of humanity, and we're saying, fuck you, no, boo, boo, boo. But now he gave us the word fickle, and now this time he's giving us the word amateur. I would love for him to come out and had cut another promo about amateurs and how he loves pro wrestling, which was kind of how he was when he first came to AEW. He pretty much was all about pro wrestling and how he's the best pro wrestler and he wants to go against the best pro wrestler. I would love for him and Kenny Omega to face each other again. That was a pretty good dream match booking that we had there as well. Yeah, we are teasing now the as much as we would love Wizard versus Wizard match with Chris Jericho and Keith Lee, we are working towards Adam Cole going against Chris Jericho. I thought it was a bit funny that at the end of this match, we had Adam Cole come out to check on Keith Lee. Of course, Adam Cole probably remembered what the hell Keith Lee did to him in NXT. Was probably like, you know what? Let me make sure I'm on your good side so you don't, you know, push me into the fifth role again. So he came out to check on him. And I kind of laughed too because of the rumor that they wanted to have Adam Cole be the manager of Keith Lee, I think it was, and cut his hair and call him Bud. I don't know if it was actually Budge or something like that, but they were going to change his name, cut his hair, and make him a manager of Keith Lee. But we see that he is kind of like helping out Keith Lee randomly, kind of at that. So I guess we're working towards Double or Nothing with a match between Adam Cole and Chris Jericho as well. They're still going with the all elite access. I've been watching them. They're not that bad. If you are a it's not as bad as like It's not Total Divas or anything like that. But it is pretty good, especially if you're a fan. If you're a fan of the Elite, if you like completely negate the fact as to why they didn't wrestle because they're concentrating on their return and everything like that. But it's pretty good. It's not what I thought it was going to be. They do kind of like touch on real life things that happened. They concentrate on Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti, of course, Britt Baker and Adam Cole. They had Eddie Kingston on there a little bit. He was cracking me up because he was like this shit on like of course Eddie Kingston was being Eddie Kingston. They had Thunder Rosa talking a little bit too. Tony Khan being Tony Khan as well. If you don't watch it for anything, just watch the episode that came out this week because they filmed the Elite coming back for oh my gosh, what's the pay-per-view? Full Gear and the Dynamite after Full Gear and everything. And they show them coming back after the show, after the match, and you see Tony Khan's like, "Are you guys okay? Bucks, are you guys okay? Kenny, are you okay? Are you okay?" Everything like that. Just pretty much just like being a big nerd. Like, and I said it plenty of times, him being like the way he is with AEW completely blows my mind because he works with the NFL, he works with Jacksonville Jaguars, and he also has other businesses on the side. So the way that he acts like he like never been around people, it blows my mind because that's how he comes off. He comes off like very socially awkward. Like he doesn't know how to like be around people. It blows my mind. So if Tony Khan's watching this, let's ignore everything that I had just said. Just skip along anyway. Because I don't know. You could tweet at Tony Khan and probably get some tickets out of that guy. But yeah, the most recent episode of Dynamite wasn't too bad. It wasn't as exciting as the first year of Dynamite was, especially once we had the Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson, and we had CM Punk, and we also had Adam Cole and the Elite and everything like that. It wasn't as exciting as it was, a couple of years ago. But it's a little bit more consistent. It's good things about Dynamite. It's some things that's just like you don't really have to tune in this week. And I think that's been the issue with AEW and Dynamite. Like some of these weeks, like with Dynamite, you don't really like if you don't tune in, you won't miss anything. It's kind of like soap operas. Like if you miss a couple of episodes of Dynamite, like you'll be able to tune in and see like, okay, I really didn't miss anything. You may miss like one or two dream matches that was like really good, like them throwing randomly Commander and Vikingo on there. But other than that, like you could pretty much catch the highlights on YouTube and still like not feel like you miss anything. Whereas though, especially when we have the Bloodline storyline, like you oh my gosh, I have to tune in to SmackDown. I gotta tune in to Raw type of situation. Hopefully they'll get it together. It's just very weird too that we had the storyline with Hangman Page and the Elite when they came to save him when he was fighting the Blackpool Combat Club, and then they didn't show up at all to help out Hangman Page, nor did they really continue anything with them as well. Like we didn't get no backstage promo of how they feel about each other or anything. Because the last time that we saw them it was when Hangman Page was going against Kenny Omega, if I remember correctly, and the Young Bucks was okay with Hangman Page winning the title at that point. So I don't know. Yeah, we're not that's pretty much it as far as with AEW. I haven't been tuning in to NXT. I know that there's some things going on with them. I watched a little bit of Stand and Deliver first of all, I'm very happy for Indy Hartwell that she won the title as well. Um, they can call themselves All Elite Wizards. I know, right? Especially if Chris Jericho gets back into a title picture or something like that. All Elite Wizards. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine how many more people could rock a wizard gimmick, because we have Chris Jericho the Wizard, we have Keith Lee dressing up as a wizard. We need somebody who talks like a wizard too. That would make everything complete. Because we have someone who calls themselves a wizard, someone who dresses like a wizard. We need someone who talks like a wizard, someone who talks in like spells and riddles and stuff like that. Maybe someone who looks like a wizard too, not really dressed like one, but really look like a wizard. Like somebody needs to grow the long beard. Oh, Danhausen. How could I forget? Yes. Oh my gosh. Put them 3 in a trios. Them versus the House of Black. Book it, Tony. Somebody tweet at Tony to put Danhausen, Keith Lee, and Chris Jericho together in a faction and have them go against the House of Black. You can call it the Dark Magic match. Kevin Nash's Oz gimmick. Yes. Somebody needs to tweet at Tony Khan right now and tell them to book that. Like, that's what the fans want. We want a dark magic match to happen in AEW. Never done before. WWE has not even done it. And we've seen them with wizards and people who dress like wizards as well for control of the dark realm. We're sounding like Impact Wrestling up in here with the dark realm. Oh my gosh, especially if they get they need to get a female on their team too, to kind of be like opposite of Julia Hart. Like gosh, who would they get? Now I'm trying to go through their women's roster. They could probably get Mercedes Martinez probably. Yes, because Undertaker is retired. Yes, we need people in control of the dark realm. We no longer have the Undertaker. We no longer have Kane. You know, Bray Wyatt is somewhere around. Yeah, we need dark people again. I mean, we have the House of Black and everything like that, but we need somebody opposite of that. Statlander, yes, because she is the alien. She probably actually did technically come from the dark realm as well. She could be like a Scarlet Witch type of character or something, like maybe a mix between, you know, Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange or something. Oh my gosh, Chris Jericho can dress like Doctor Strange. He probably won't like the fact to put the little bit of white in his beard. I mean, technically Keith Lee can just pretty much do that. Yes. Then Buster agrees with that with Statlander. Yes. We can have Statlander, you know, be on the good side of the wizards, because we have House of Black, you know, the dark realm and stuff like that. We can have the light mages to go against as well. Like, boom. That's a storyline right there. Book that for Wembley. I can only imagine what the chance is going to be from there. They'll probably do a whole chant, a whole spell or something like that. You know, we love the wizards, you know, something, something, something. I can only imagine what the hell type of chants that we will have from there. But yeah, you know, staff on a pole match or something like that. You know, put the magic book of spells and things like that. Stop it. They can all change their finishers to Shining Wizards. Someone can call their finisher the final spell or something like that too. Like, we are out. Tony Khan needs to listen to this podcast, because we're out here booking Dynamite for him. Like, we can probably sit here and book All In and sell out that stadium. But come on, Wizards versus Wizard match. And Chris Jericho could sit here and say, welcome to All Elite Wizards, just like I used to say Raw is Jericho. Welcome to All Elite Wizards. You know, spell it out, man. You know, something like that. So listen, Tony Khan needs to book it. I'll probably tweet at him like, Tony, I have an idea. You know, that's a 6-month build too. Long-term booking, not too much long-term booking where it's 2 years or something like that, but short-term, booking. Start the recruiting and things like that. Have House of Black beat up Keith Lee and Chris Jericho. They decide to team up together to face them. You know, and then have Dan Housing no longer be a best friend, but have Chris Jericho say, "Hey, we need you to curse them," and then build from there. Build from there. Talk about the different spells and stuff like that. Like, we don't have to really get too deep like they have in NXT with what's her name, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. Like, we don't need to get that dark just yet, because they are white. They're the light mages. I mean, because we have House of Black. They're we may have to like dip into a little bit of that, because it is House of Black. We got to figure out how to involve the Dark Realm or something like that. Maybe they'll take Daniel Garcia and put him in the Dark Realm. He comes out, boom, as the actual as a Brock Lesnar or something like that. He'll come out and say he's no longer a sports entertainer, but that he is a pro wrestler or something like that. He could he can dress up like Blade because he was wearing the sunglasses on this past Dynamite. He can be a different version of Blade. He can be like Ryan Reynolds when he was in, what was that, Blade 3, I think it was, or Blade Trinity. I mean, I know I probably brought back some bad memories for people with that movie, but it exists. House of Wizards. House of Black and then House versus the House of Wizards. Book it, Tony Khan. That needs to be booked. House of Wizards versus the House of Black. Okay. Winner gets control of the Dark Realm. They can call it the you have to put the word house in it. I mean, they could put like house magic type of match. Yes. HOW versus HOB. House of Wizards versus the House of Black. Come on. And I mean, like, it writes itself, and it's not like it won't be a bad match. I mean, it's Chris Jericho. First of all, it's House of Black. House of Black can wrestle anyone, and it'll be a great match. But yeah, they can, with Dan Housing and Keith Lee and Chris Jericho. I mean, Chris Jericho will be hanging in there, but he'll be all right. He will be all right. But yes, we can definitely tweet at Tony Khan and be like, "Hey, listen, House of Wizards versus House of Black." Do not tune into the podcast, though, to listen to exactly everything I said, because I did talk a little bit of trash about you. But House of Wizard versus House of Black. Book it. Wembley. Boom. That will sell. That will sell some people on that. I mean, will it sell out? Will it main event and sell out? No. We have to reserve that for Kenny versus Ospreay. However, middle of the pay-per-view, you have like what? Jay White versus Adam Cole. You got to calm down. You need a breather or something like that. You need to sit back and be entertained with some good wrestling and some magical stuff. And what's more magical than a bunch of wizards, There is nothing more magical than that. A bunch of wizards, okay? NXT will have nothing on that. Okay, WWE will have nothing on that. Okay, thin mustache Vince McMahon will wish that he thought of that. Cody Rhodes would probably be like, damn it, I could have been back in AEW. Can you imagine Cody Rhodes trying to, come in as the shining beacon as Homelander against all the wizards and stuff like that? He can be the one that will save the world from all these dark mages and wizards and stuff like that, He can be like our knight in shining armor. Literally, he can come out in the white armor and stuff like that. He could throw the American flag on it, because we know he likes the American flag. He could throw some eagles on and stuff like that and just do that. Here we go. House of Black versus House of Wizards. Stadium Stampede in Washington, D.C. at the Wizard Stadium, because we do have to put the Wizards in there somewhere. But yes, it has to be maybe the magical stampede. We got to throw magic or wizards into that. It could be the magical stampede in DC at Wizard Stadium. And you have to have Wizards players around the ring, not only in their jerseys, but they have to wear a wizard hat too and make it a lumberjack match. Maybe a lumbered wizard or something like that type of match. Look at this. Look at this. We booked this in under 20 minutes. If we could book this magic, thank you, pun intended. If we could book this magic in under 20 minutes, Tony Khan, what are you doing? What are you doing? We are sitting here booking like, wow, literal magic here. Okay, we just booked a full-on feud, 6-month build, or at the Magic Kingdom. Yes, but see though, yeah, wait, can that work though with Disney? I'm trying to make connections here because Disney pretty much owns anything. I don't know if they own Fox or if they're affiliated with Fox or USA or something like that. We got to make sure the path for them to do this at Magic Kingdom could work, but they can do it at Magic Kingdom. Be very magical. I mean, we don't really need now this one. Move aside princesses. We could bring out all the villains. Okay, Maleficent. We can maybe bring out Mickey Mouse and at Fantasia. If we had Cody Rhodes, Mickey Mouse with the wizard hat can introduce Cody Rhodes because we have to have that happen. That was funny as hell. Listen, we're out here making magic. Okay, this is why sometimes we feel as though, you know what, booking wrestling really isn't that hard. Come on, like. This would go over. If this was an NXT, come on. We would have been popping like crazy. Like, oh my gosh. Magic Kingdom is Disney and the wizard hat is in the Sorcerer's Apprentice, right? Yeah. I'm trying to figure out though, does Disney own Fox or USA? Like, is Disney affiliated at all with WWE? But too, because Disney owns Marvel, we can actually have Doctor Strange as the referee. Okay, follow me here. We can have Scarlet Witch as the announcer as well. Maybe flipped. Maybe Scarlet Witch as the referee and Doctor Strange as the announcer, because he can like really break down to us like what to look for in this match. And we're going to see some wizard powers. Danhausen using Star Wars powers, invisible powers, the Force powers, chokeslam and Brody King. Listen, if we can get Disney involved in this, because it's Warner Brothers stuff like that. Like we don't need Batman and stuff like that. I feel as though with Warner Brothers, if they go deep enough with this, we might see Batman in AEW. We may see Batman in AEW. Batman can go against Vikingo, or something like that. I don't know who the Joker would go against, but anyway, that's a whole other fantasy book, and then we can go there. But yes, if we can get the mouse involved with AEW, what? Star Wars, Marvel, all the animated video movies. We could even go back to the 90s. I mean, come on, Scar versus MJF. Come on, Scar versus MJF. While yes, Scar may break out into a song, but MJF could break out into a song too. I mean, it could be song versus song or something like that. But yeah, Scar versus MJF. What else? Like, we're at the tip of the iceberg. You see how this all happened? Why can't we get this from Tony Khan? Okay, we just spent the past 20-30 minutes just kind of like we went from House of Wizards versus House of Black. Now we're involving Star Wars. We're involving, we got Scar versus MJF and things like that. Joker had magical powers at one point in the comics. The Joker can't really have the Joker as referee because he'll definitely he'll actually blow up the ring. I mean, he'll do a better job at the ending of a match versus the, the death match. Match that we had where Eddie Kingston trying to save Jon Moxley's life. Looking up Emperor Joker. Look up Emperor Joker storyline. I will do that. What's up, World Elite Podcast? What's up, Jaydee? Listen, you came in here probably at a weird time. We did a recap of AEW, and now we didn't fall into a hole. We fell into a booking hole. we're talking about House of Black versus what's called the House of Wizards, with Danhausen, Keith Lee because he dressed up as a wizard, and Chris Jericho because he calls himself a wizard. And we done involved Magic Kingdom. We're now going into DC because of Warner Brothers and stuff like that. Listen, Tony Khan, I know he has some type of negotiation skills. He can have, first of all, we need to fill up Wembley Stadium with 90,000 people. We already have House of Black versus the House of Wizards. If he can do the booking with WB like WWE does, like matches can be brought to you by Batman. You know, it could be brought to you by the Penguin. We don't need the sit emoji or anything like that. We can have Shazam versus Black Adam versus Dr. Fate. Everybody will be rooting for Shazam. I don't know how people feel about Black Adam as of right now, but can we technically have Black Adam though? We do know that Dwayne Johnson tends to watch AEW, but can we technically have Black Adam? I mean, because we may have Black, you know, we may have Black Steve or something like that, you know. Probably, we may get Eve. She'll come in like, I am the wife of Black Adam or something like that. I don't know if we can get Black Adam up in there. I mean, he'll probably come to us via satellite or tweeting or something like that. But yeah, I mean, look at us. Look at us. We done booked a full-on 6-month build of House of Black versus House of Wizards. I feel like this needs to be created in WWE 2K23. I don't have WWE 2K23, but I feel like this needs to exist somewhere in the universe somewhere. Maybe we could wait until, you know, whenever they decide to release Fight Forever, whenever they can get around to it. But until then, I mean, Tony Khan just really needs to lean in. I mean, you have Warner Brothers. You can open it up from there as much, especially now that Warner Brothers is trying to pull a Marvel. And it's very exciting too, because with the Flash, I mean, they could bring in Michael Keaton. That would get people going with that too. You bring in Michael Keaton and he could sit there and say, yeah, I'm Batman. And then have the best friends come in and hug him because Batman has been by himself all this whole time. I mean, Michael Keaton didn't really team up with anybody like that. I mean, the Catwoman, yeah, for the one movie, but you know, he really didn't have anybody to really team up with him like that. He didn't really get that chance. I mean, so he can be with the best friends. The best friends could come in with the hug and show him some love. I mean, can you imagine Batman versus 89 Batman with Orange Cassidy? I mean, he won't be able to disappear because Orange Cassidy will still be walking away or something like that. Magic Dwayne comes into AEW, wins the title in Battle Roman Reigns. For the head, not only that, this won't be only for head of the table, but it would be for head of wrestling. If we have the AEW title versus the Universal WWE Championship, unifies the titles to protect us from the dark realm. Exactly. Like, listen, see how this is all interesting. Like, we need this to happen. Okay. We need someone to protect us from the dark realm. Okay. CM Punk won't do it. MJF won't do it. MJF don't care about us with the dark realm. He'll be like, you know, as long as they don't come to Long Island, I'm good. Okay. The CM Punk won't help us with that. Kenny and the Young Bucks won't help us with that. I mean, Cody is going to want to help us with that because Cody wants to be able to say that he saved everybody. John Cena is a peacemaker. He may just curse us out just because, you know, he can. That's probably when we'll finally get John Cena to turn heel, is because we're trying to, because we're dealing with the dark realm. That's probably when he'll finally turn heel and stuff like that. Vince will probably put a title on the dark realm or something like that. But with the tribal chief godlike powers, he would defeat Magic Dwayne. There it is. There is Devin out there to defend his tribal chief. We need that protection. Have you seen Unit's real face? Listen, okay. All we need to do is just slide into Tony Khan's DMs and like, look, okay, you can just book the Dark Realm is trying to attack us. Like we don't. It's like, come on, it's all written right there. Okay, you can have Darby Allin, as like a spy or something. We think that he may be trying to join the House of Black, but he's actually on. Then again, he probably might join House of Black side because he likes the dark stuff. Like he just want to say, listen, how high is the drop to the Dark Realm, and can I do a coffin drop to it? He'll probably do that. He will not help us out. Oh, Evil Uno. Have you seen Evil Uno's real face? I think I did. Because I thought that he was the guy when they first did the Dark Orders things, and they had the guy who was talking. Was that him or not? Like I think I saw his actual face, or at least I can guess what his face looked like as well. But yeah, we do need to protect. And then what do we do with Dark Order? That's probably when Dark Order would actually be popular. Dark Order would probably be maybe stuck in the middle, giving us the comedy stuff, meeting up with Chris Jericho and Keith Lee and Dan Housing to kind of give them tips about the Dark Realm because they are the Dark Order. Come on, it writes itself. And then we got to figure, and then come to find out Bray Wyatt is the evil overlord of the Dark Realm. Him with Uncle Howdy and Cousin Larry or something like that. That's probably why we haven't seen Bray Wyatt, because he's stuck in the Dark Realm. Vince McMahon's probably like, fuck him, he could stay in the Dark Realm. I fired his ass anyway, he needs to stay there. And we need Chris Jericho and the squad to rescue. That could be it right there. Boom. Come on, as popular as Bray Wyatt was with the return, we can have this lead to the return of Bray Wyatt at Wembley Stadium, because Chris Jericho and squad is trying to save him, is trying to defeat him as the evil overlord of the Dark Realm. He could be the one that is behind the House of Black. The Dark Order is the protectors of the Dark Realm. I just love how we just sitting here just booking this whole thing. We just went straight off on a tangent with, this Dark Realm and everything like that. But can you imagine if they book this with the storylines and the weaving and stuff like that, like the Bloodline? Chef's kiss. The Dark Realm is Vince's mustache. Oh my gosh. Vince's mustache will be put over so hard because of that. Dark Realm. It's painted like it's that mustache looked like it came from a Dark Realm. Like straight up, like took a Sharpie and just like put it on there. But the person who tried to put the mustache on his face was just so nervous because it's Vince McMahon that they were shaking, and it made his mustache like super crooked. And he probably fired them on the spot, and that's why it looks so damn incomplete as well. But yeah, wow. But look at that. We had not that much of an exciting week of wrestling, and the most exciting thing that we talked about here is the Dark Realm and our fantasy booking of the Wizards of AEW versus the House of Black. And we done pulled Disney into this. We done pulled Warner Brothers and Joker and Batman and everything like that. And I'm gonna look up Empire Joker. Like I do love Batman and Joker, and I haven't I don't really read the comics as much, especially once they've really gotten to like different type of Batmans and the Robins and stuff like that. It was hard for me to keep up, so I kind of stuck to the shows and the movies. But I will look into Empire Joker. That sounds very interesting. The Joker is one of my favorite villains from Batman, and you can see I have like a slight little shrine with Batman over there as well. But yeah, that was an exciting time that we did talking here. And now every time we see Chris Jericho and Keith Lee, we're going to be thinking about the Dark Realm. But yeah, so wow. After that, I don't know, like, where do we go from there? I pretty much recapped the whole week and everything like that. So we're gonna end the episode here. Thank you though so much for listening. This has been a lot of fun, especially talking about the dark realm and things like that. You can catch me on Twitter at JDC137. You can catch the podcast at Wrestlebread as well. You can click the links in the bio for the Instagram, the Facebook, the TikTok as well. You can catch the Bloodline Entertainment Network. There is a website, ladies and gentlemen. Go to Bloodline Entertainment Network. There's a website that covers a lot more than wrestling as well. As you see, we talked about, comics and stuff like that. We talk about anime over there. We talk about sports, just baseball, which I was peeking at the scores for the Phillies before we started here. We cover baseball. First of all, we cover baseball, basketball. There is wrestling as well. There's a lot of things, a lot of articles by some wonderful writers over there as well. I believe we just released the article of the top matches of the week. It may have been for last week. Top 25 matches of the week. There's also power rankings and stuff like that. I know AEW used to have power rankings, but they stopped. But if you miss power rankings, go to the Bloodline Entertainment Network as well. Instead of you clicking multiple tabs for different websites, having to go to Sports Center and ESPN to this, that, and the third, it's all on one website, and that is the Bloodline Entertainment as well. Check out the YouTube channel as well. You catch me live here every Thursday at 9 p.m. EST on the Bloodline Entertainment YouTube channel. And check out every single day. Every day we have something going on. We have a wonderful podcast out there as well that covers plenty of topics. You want the indies? We got something for it. You want UFC? We got something for it. You want to cover WWE, AEW? We got it all over at the Bloodline Entertainment Network as well. I am the host of this Wrestlebread podcast, Jaydee, the first effing lady. And thank you so much for listening. And until next time, guys, peace. You're listening to the Wrestlebread podcast.
With one beer.